I wouldn't say it has evolved or regressed, but branding has transformed certainly. So more than saying it has evolved or it has regressed, I think, as they say, it is very cliche to say that change is the only constant. So things keep changing. Now, what you branded and what you called branding in a very classical manner, which actually comes from consumer sort of heritage and roots, might have changed today. Say, for example, can you produce another Coca-Cola today? I don't think the world can't one another like Coca-Cola because, today it's a lot more awareness is there, a lot more questioning is there, lot more scrutiny is there. People are going to ask number of questions in why should I have this drink? So for that era, that age, that was appropriate, and they made a huge brand out of Coke. But as you progress further and further, the world has shrunk. You come to know about so many things. So you know how the consumers are, and then appropriately you have to actually create a brand. It can, in a way, it can be more challenging. In a way, it can be easy also, because you can take the brand very quickly to a number of people, your target audience. You have got a multimedia approach today. There, I heard someone saying that the first ad of Coke, which came in Times of India somewhere, some maybe 100 years back, it just said that, today is going to be a very hot and humid day, and, you just have Coca-Cola. So it was as simple as that. So, but then things changed. So then you got into the concept of positioning and owning a space in the consumer's mind and all that. Now, some of those consumer practices were very well actually, adopted by pharma, and pharma industry created a lot of brands. Now, if you are talking about brand building in today's context, it is slightly different because, first you have got two sets of companies. You have got the multinational research companies, and you have got the Indian companies. Indian companies have largely launched a large number of brands in a year, which actually fitted into their business model. I wouldn't rate them any less in terms of brand building capabilities or anything. I think there is enough there. Only thing is the model in which they were operating, for them to be a successful organization, it was they were companies like Sun Pharma, which have been successful, realize that they are a generic company and they have to play the game accordingly. And of course, multinationals have fewer brands, and they have put in a lot of money into the research of the product. So they dug deep and wanted to build a brand big. But in today's context, if I talk about the company like, say, the Indian pharmaceutical company, generic companies, I think they can do quite, both of them quite well. Uh, in a generic space, when they want to have multiple brands in the same therapy, then your marketing or branding will be very different. You will either you will brand the company per se. Anything from the house of, say, a Sun or a Zydus or a Torrent or a Lupin should be good enough, because there is so much to talk about the company per se. And then you place the brands accordingly within that umbrella. Or you actually have a therapy. You say that I dominate this therapy of neuropsychiatry, or I dominate this therapy of diabetes, and you have got a number of brands. And you then, so branding remains, but what you brand and how you brand changes. And also the classical branding, what we know, that also people are capable of doing, because these companies are fast transforming into specialty generics and stuff like that. So they'll have their own research products, and then you do the classical branding. So branding would never lose its importance, according to me. You need to brand. You need to brand, and you keep. You are talking in an era where we are branding water and salt. So you definitely branding will remain, but yes, it has not regressed, but it has actually maybe transformed. That's what I would say. And consistent, yes, of course. See, consistency is very important. See, few things what I would like to tell upfront is, in anything as a marketeer, what we need to be very conscious of is the size of the opportunity. You have to estimate the size of the market in which you are operating in the right manner. Sometimes, they call this myopic vision. No? So we don't understand the market in full. So we are very scared at times to take very ambitious targets and, resource accordingly. So I think that is one thing which I would love to tell all the managers. You just don't take sort of, okay, historically our brands have sold 5 crores, 6 crores, 10 crores in the first year, and I would rather take a similar number because you wouldn't invest, and if you don't invest, it will not grow, and then you will move on to the next. So I think sizing up of the opportunity should be right. You should really, gather insights. The pre-launch, or that is very very important. The pre-launch period. So, how do you understand the size of the opportunity, and why did you get into this business? After all, why did you want to launch this? If you start asking such questions, then you know that actually the people who need your product are much larger than what you think, and you can then appropriately face it. And a typical good brand manager, what they would do is they would never have a campaign or something for next cycle, but they would have a chart which will tell what is going to be their course of action with the brand for the next maybe 8 cycles, or for 2 years, 3 years. This is the way broadly I'm going to move with my brand. So I think that sort of a plan is very much required.